What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So, welcome to should be Tuesday's episode. So, definitely check us out on Monday if you have not already, where we talk about the MGM and Caesars breach that's currently ongoing. So we kind of, I think we have enough information to break down what is currently happening and probably the results, right? I don't think it's going to elevate from here. I hope not, at least for MGM's sake. But if it does, we'll have another discussion next week or the week after where we break down whatever new news comes out of that one. So definitely check us out. And then Wednesday will be our discussion. Thursdays, I should have another Ask a CISP. If not, it'll be a throwback. But please go back to last Thursday's Ask a CISP with Kane McGladrey from Hyperproof. He's the field CISO over there. Really good interview. He's very entertaining, very educated on these topics, and we go from the span from ethics and AI through diversity, culture, and thought, all the way to we talk about snowboarding and some other cool stuff. So definitely check us out. But without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from Politico.com, and it is titled "All Thanks to Big Yellow Taxi: How State Discovered Chinese Hackers, How State Department discovered Chinese hackers reading its emails." State Department, they had an alert system, right? Like kind of like a tripwire. That uncovered and unraveled an advanced Chinese spying campaign that involved breaches of officials' emails, right? So this breach actually happened in June. It was detected in June, and it could have gone unnoticed, they say, right? If they hadn't have done this big yellow taxi, is what they call it, this tripwire that they put in the system to determine when they were getting hacked, right? So put it out there, these were not classified emails, right? So this was the stuff that's considered unclassified, which still may be a little sensitive, right? There's a little bit of a line there on what goes on over certain networks, but they actually caught this, right? So there was a State Department cybersecurity expert, and he put an effort to implant this custom warning mechanism. He did this. It was a little more than 2 years ago, I think they said. I think it was more than 2 years ago. In anticipation of these future hacks, right? So this is why people in the DoD go after some of these folks that are out there now, right? So like these people that I don't know, I won't say they necessarily played the game, right? But they know the game. Let's just say that are like, hey, this is what can happen in the future. Let's think forward on these types of things, right? Let's be more proactive than reactive, right? And it seemed to have helped here. So what it was, like I said, it was a tripwire-like alert, and it went off almost immediately when Chinese spies targeted the email systems in mid-June, right? So when this happened, State Department reached out to Microsoft, right? Because Microsoft was the email system they were using, and was like, hey, this is what we discovered. Let's go in and look at this and verify that what we're seeing is actually legitimate, right? Because they had some false positives in the past as well, which I'm all right with taking that hit and having the false positives. You look into it, you figure, okay, it's not what it is, but you have to take it serious every time, right? You can't let it be like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, where when you see it, you're just like, whatever, right? So even though they had the false positives beforehand, this one came up in June, and they were like, no, this is legit. Let's go ahead and address this. Let's do what we need to do to fix it. And in this article, they're not going too much into at all, actually, what they did, right, to have this tripwire set up, but they just say that it's there, right, which is a good thing. It's a security thing, right? It's not you don't want it to be like Geraldo out there giving away your position in Desert Storm. You know what I mean? You don't want to be like, hey, this is how we fixed it. Like there comes a point where journalism and reporting has to have a line, right? You know what I mean? Like we want this out there. We don't want to put it out there what was being done for our adversaries to get smart on it again and then try to figure out how to circumvent it. But yeah, this was one of those ones that hit the State Department, but they weren't the only ones that got hit, right? So there were other agencies in the DoD that also had this going on, but they didn't pick up on it, right? So it's a good thing that you had this worker that had the foresight to come up with this and be like, hey, this is what I think we should do for the future, knowing the games that are played. I don't want to say the games, right? They're not really games. This is real stuff. This is serious, but knowing how the game is played, right? So But by catching this, they prevented China from gaining more extensive access to the communications of some of the U.S. officials, which some of them they did get to. And when it did happen, they let China know immediately. Like they actually they traveled to China and let them know, hey, we know you did this, right? So like, and what they say in the article is China doesn't exactly deny it. You know what I mean? They're just like, hey, you guys do it too, right? Which I'm not going to say that's not the
Right,
case,
right.
right? I'm not going to say that's not the case, but they were like, they didn't deny it, and they were just like, hey, we do what we do, you do what you do, type thing is what it seems to come off with. But they do mention in the article how they went to him and addressed it with them, like, hey, we know you did it. But more than likely, they said knock it off. But yeah, this is again, this is we're being more proactive. It helps in situations like this, right? Like we know who we're up against when it comes to what's going on in the world right now, right? We know we got your Chinas, your Russias, your North Koreas that are coming for us, right? And are we coming for them? Yes, we've done some articles even where we've gotten a little offensive in things, right? Like I may not necessarily be retaliatory, right? But maybe it is. We don't know. We don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes, right? But yeah, it's good. It's good that we had somebody that was forward thinking enough to do this, and it did help in this instance. And it was a matter of the collaboration between the State Department and Microsoft, right? So Microsoft was like, "Yep, that's an issue. Let's fix that." You know what I'm saying? So, and they did. So I love to see these types of things. I wish it happened more often, right? I wish it wasn't so much reactive in nature for some of these things that we report during the podcast. But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's two things, right? But before I go there, like, share, subscribe, keep these numbers up. We're like we're trending like 3 times what we normally trend, right? Like we're going to probably break 1,500 downloads this month, and then maybe even hit 2,000. Let's see. Yeah, the numbers just keep going up and up and up. I don't know what changed, but keep it up. I like it. But yeah, I got two things from this. Like, thing number one, uh, the geopolitical climate, hilarious. Like, like they didn't even deny it. They were just like, I like the quote from the it says they did hack me, which was unappreciated to say the least. It says Raimondo to the NBC Meet the Press. And then there's another quote that says, I brought it up clearly, put it right on the table when they were talking to Chinese officials. Because the US never directly attributed it to them, at least not initially. Microsoft did. Microsoft, like, once they patched and they felt secure, and so did the State Department and other federal agencies. Then Microsoft said, "Hey, China, knock it off," and then the US followed it up with the I guess maybe they were already having a trip, and they were while they were there to decide it, which is kind of brazen to be in somebody else's country and then start accusing them of hacking. But that means that you absolutely know it was them, right? You can absolutely attribute it to them. To which the response is, "Well, you do it all the time," which may be the case. Who's to say? But that's currently where we're at. This is pretty hilarious.
I don't think. I mean, yes, it is brazen, but I don't think it's going to be like the movie 300, right? Where we send an envoy and then they
Just kick them
test
into
pitch them
the
into a hole.
into
You
the
know what I mean?
hole.
I don't think so. Like we're past that point right now. I mean, maybe not with some countries. Maybe North Korea might try it. I don't know, but like I don't think it'll be like that. We send an envoy just to relay a message, and it's like, hey, this is China. Kick. I don't think that's going to happen. You know what I mean? But
Like, but why are you standing right next to the gigantic hole? Would be my question. Like, did you not see the setup? Did you, did you not know this is gonna? That's how bold you feel. They're not kicking me into this big hole back here. Was probably kick thousands of people into this hole, but not me.
and multiples were standing there. If I remember the
Yeah,
movie,
they start
there
kicking
was
everybody in the
multiples.
hole.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, everybody got them feet. Um, but the second thing being the analysts that they won't name, so that all heroes wear capes, right? But like in my mind, it could either be a government contractor of some sort that saw this, was able to identify it and say, hey, we can kind of figure out how to set this thing up in case there is an issue. Or it could be someone who works directly for the State Department, right? Like, it's kind of GS capacity or whatever, what have you, did the same. So either way, I want this person to be recognized, like, not maybe not publicly, but if they are under contract, give that person a bonus, give that person a raise. And if they work directly for Homeland or State Department or whatever, bump them up pay grade. You know, like Ryan said, go ahead and add one to whatever rate they're currently at. Because I mean that's amazing. Because not only did they have the foresight, but then it led to because it would have been no one would have noticed. Right. And they alluded to that in the article as well. Like things like this happen all the time. It didn't generate enough traffic to be something to be that uh different to the baseline. But it just so happens that they saw the flaw, put some guardrails around the flaw, right? Mitigated that risk. And then because of that, they were able to then feed all this to the other departments and Microsoft's able to patch it because then it would have been a global issue, right? China would have been in everybody's systems. So like that one person just saying like, I see something wrong and I would like to help caused humongous ramifications. That's probably why they won't release their name because China will like put them on the list. Who's getting kicked in the hole next? This person. So yeah, hopefully they are recognized for it, or praised in private, right? Like usually say praised in public, punished in private. Like hopefully they're praised in private as well, and given something for their efforts because that is amazing, and you love to see it. So, but yeah, no one's getting kicked in the hole today, apparently. But with that being said, definitely continue to check us out on the websites that go by our name. Again, our numbers are really high, so I would like to stay here. I like it here. I want to go back. So please continue to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Like YouTube did not blow up though. That's the weirdness. Like the podcast side did, YouTube's remained the same. So if you have not already and you are a listener, but you also watch YouTube from time to time, go ahead and give us a sub. You never have to go check it out video wise. Just sub and then listen to us, continue to listen to us audio. Or do both. If you want to see our manly faces. We both have beards. Apparently, it's man makeup. That's what I've been told. But they'll definitely check us out. Hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. I think I put too many RYs on there. On LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and Threads. Stay safe, stay secure.